Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about something a little different than what we normally talk about here on Deitra Mechelle. It's something that has been on my heart that I feel that I should be sharing, and so today is the day to do so. So first, let me just give you guys a little taste of my background. So I was born in Chicago, but I spent the majority of all of my life raised in a rural town in Mississippi. So we was in the rural area on family land, grandma, uncle, all the way down, and the church literally right there at the peak of it all. So there was no excuse for missing church service. Fast forward to today, my dad is a minister, my mom was an evangelist, and my brother, he is a minister. So, as you can see, this runs deep. The reason why I'm going to tell you guys this story today is because it seems as though I can't shake it. So, I'm going to be obedient, let you guys know what God has done for me. I think that the reason I am feeling so overwhelmed with the whole situation is because He wants me to share. These are my beliefs. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that. It's not because I was raised in church. It is because one day in 1993, He grabbed a hold of me. And I cannot even begin to explain to you what it feels like. But nothing on this earth can compare. So nobody can tell me that He is not real. Okay? Nobody can tell me that, because that's something I know for a fact is so. So let's push forward and let's talk about my grief and what I have been having to endure and how I got to this situation. So I've always had this prophetic thing about me, and I've always seemed to know when something was going to happen to someone close. Now, I would never just know offhand who exactly it was. But I would get this feeling. Those of you, there are a lot of you out here who go through the same thing. You just keep it a secret. You know what I'm saying? But I am today, okay, this is a testimony. So I would always get this feeling. And I would have this anxiety that would build up all over me. I would have the feeling of panic all over me, like it just would not release me. And I would go to work, or I would go to school. When I was in school, it was always something, somewhere I was going, and I would have to endure this and not know what's going on. Okay? I just would know something is about to happen. Or at first, I didn't know exactly what it was, but as I grew older, I started realizing that it was what I like to call a whisper. So there would be a whisper, and it would tell me that something is about to happen. Sometimes it would come in a dream, and I would miss the dream. You know, sometimes you wake up and you forget what you actually dreamed, but you just catch a little of it. So you don't know exactly what it is. It would just be a burden. So anyway, I would always call my mom, and I always tell my mom what I have experienced. Because, of course, who else better to talk to about this type of situation? So I would always call her and tell her. So fast forward to today, when this occurred, I couldn't tell her. So let me explain to you what happened. Normally when I would tell her, or if I even called, she could tell by the tone of my voice that something was going on, and she'd be like, Didi, what's wrong? Because that's, my nickname. Didi, what's wrong? So I would tell her, she would, we would pray that it would be all right. And if I did think that I knew who it was, or I saw it in my dream, I would tell her. And we would come together, do a little prayer about it, and just hope that it just didn't come into fruition. But you know what? It always did. So when she was not in that headspace and having a good day and it was something that I need to tell her, and I would call her, she would be like, So I always knew when to tell her, when not to. Fast forward to today. So I'm going to tell you guys what happened. My blessings, when they come, they run deep. And when they start to come, they overflow. And they overflow one reason, the main reason, is because I have a personal relationship with God. God will never put more on you than you can bear. He won't put more on us than we can bear. So one night, I was asleep. And I was knocked out. And the whisper. So the whisper is, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it said. Deitra, I'm sorry to tell you, but your brother has passed away. So it woke me immediately up out of my sleep. I jumped up in this panic mode. My heart was racing. I'm talking about it was pushing. It was pushing. My watch was showing like 146 beats per minute. It was pushing. And I didn't know what to do with that information. But it did wake me. It was like someone was in the room with me. And it was a man's voice. And it startled me. And when I tell you I was startled, please understand how deep I was startled. So, because at this point, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be my brother. So, I'm trying to work. I'm working, right? So I get up that morning, and you know it's deep on me. And this is Thursday, late Thursday night, early Friday morning before day. So I go to work, I go ahead and do my job, and then when I finish work, I jump out and I go do field inspection. So while I'm doing the field inspection, it's on me. It's like a burden. It's so deep. And I wanted to call him, but I was afraid to call him because if this is so, but I didn't call. And normally I would call my mom and tell her, but something just kept me from calling her. I just didn't call her this time. I don't know. I just couldn't see picking up the phone and calling her. It's like something was just stopping me. So I just kept working. And fast forward to Saturday afternoon. I was somewhere way off, away from where I live, because I'm deep right here in the heart of LA. So it was like somewhere way off from where I live. And my phone rang, and I looked down at the phone, and it was my brother. I seen his name on the phone, and I was like, oh snap. That was like the best thing I could ever see on my phone. I almost wrecked my car. So I pulled over and I answered the phone, and I told him, I was like, ooh, you have no idea how happy I am to see your name come across my phone. And listen, guys, we hadn't talked in about 3 months. And as soon as I had the dream the night before, he calls me the very next day. He says something was placed on his heart, and something just said, call your sister, so I'm calling you. I said, and let me tell you, you've been on my mind all night. I didn't tell him why, because I didn't want to freak him out. Oh, but something told him to call me, and he called me, and I was so happy to hear from him. So I was like, so what is with this voice? What could it be? I calmed down. I felt a little better. I was able to finish my work in the area where I was. But by the time I got home, this was Saturday. By the time I got home good, that anxiety was back over me. It was like all over me. It was all over me. I said, ooh. So I'm not gonna go in the computer and do the forms and all that stuff. I gotta get out of here. And I had made it home around noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. So I changed my clothes out, right? And I grabbed my water, put my earphones on, I got out of here, and took me a long hike. Okay. So after I pushed about 8 miles or 8.5 miles on my feet, I came home. I got in the house, I came and sat down, and I pulled my shoes off, And instead of me, I felt so much better. Like it was this huge relief off of me. I started to turn the TV on, and I was doing a little something going on in here, and my brother called, and I seen it on the phone, and I picked the phone up, and as soon as I picked it up, it was my sister-in-law, and she was like, Dee Dee, is that you? And I was like, yes, me. You know, I had a good day. Yes, me. And she says, here, Chris. He get on the phone, and he says, Dee Dee? And I said, yeah. He said, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's no other way to tell you, but our mother's passed away. As soon as he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's no other way. As soon as he said it, I recognized the voice from my dream. So it wasn't my brother has passed away. It was my mother has passed away. And when I tell you, it was the most horrible news that I have ever heard in my life. I did not know what to do with myself. I can't say I was in denial. I was in denial. I was quiet for a minute. He had to call my name for a couple of times. And I had to break it, and I told him, I thought it was you. I thought it was going to be you. I just didn't know. And I misheard that whisper. Because God never places more on me than I can bear. And he forewarns me so that I can handle it when it occurs. And a lot of us can testify to that. A lot of us have experienced these types of things in our lives. We can't explain it. We don't want people to think we're crazy. It is what it is. You can think what you want to think about me. I don't care. I know how good God is. I know what he has done for me, my family, my kids. I know. And I don't need any validation from anybody else. So the stages of grief, they're real too. And I have been through them. The anger, the denial, in my mind, why would you tell me? Why would you forewarn me? Why would you have me go through all of this burden? Look, I've always said, I don't want to know anything that's happening before anybody else know. I want to know when they know, okay? But I did at that moment realize why I just couldn't seem to call my mom. Because the same night I had that dream, she passed away in her home. Y'all, please forgive me. The burden of this grief is it's real, okay? I have been having a lot of good days. And that's because I had to, the burden was so overwhelming. And some days I just couldn't breathe. You know, just knowing that when I got something I want to say, it's crazy and all out the way. And, you know, and to call her and hear her laugh echo back at me the same way I'm laughing is the same way I would hear her, because we are two of the same. It was unreal to know that I would never be able to do that again. I have been trying to deal with my stages of grief. And of course, the first one, so we'll talk about it. The first one was denial. Of course I was numb. I was like, there's no way. The full of life and, and all of the plans she had and the things that she was doing, and, for this to have happened, I was shook to my core. But what can you do? And then, that feeling that I don't want to say it was anger, but I knew for a fact that I was trying to put it all together. Like, why this early? Like, what is happening? What is happening? I was working really hard, and getting out of the house and staying busy to kind of help myself, and I kept God not in the center, but at the head of my situation, because I knew that without it, I wouldn't be able to make it, just knowing that I would not be able. Let me tell you something. Everybody don't have the same relationship with their parent, okay? Everybody. And our relationship has not been, ice cream and cookies, okay? We have had our shares of ups and downs. She was one of those types of people where whatever she says, what she says, she meant what she said, it is what it is, and you either take it or you leave it, okay? So, long story short, it has not always been the best of a relationship, but as we grew older, and as she grew older, as I grew older, of course, things started to change for the better. And why? Because you can't always just walk around toting things that happen or things that occurred in your younger years between you and your parents, or between you and your family, or you and your friends, and just keep holding on to stuff and acting like in the end you're not going to have to answer for the way you carried on in this lifetime. I know I got to answer for it, okay? And so since I know that, I know what I needed to do. And I needed to make sure I kept a relationship, okay? I made sure I keep a relationship with all people. Y'all don't experience people who you have a relationship with and your friends and whatever, and your cousins or whatever, and then out of the blue they stop talking to you. They just walk away, and you call and you text it and they not answering the phone, all this other stuff, and you don't know what's going on. You have no idea what's done happened. You have no idea why they talking. It's people who do that stuff. I have people in my life right now who I communicate with who have done that. But I don't even bring it up when we start back talking. You know why? Because I strongly feel that life is too short, and I let God handle all of those situations. Ain't no need in bringing up spilled milk, okay? There's no need in bringing it up. Before you know it, you're not talking again, just wasting precious time, because none of us are going to get out of this life alive. You understand? None of us are. Each and every one of us will be checking out. And we're not bringing anything we got now with us. And you're going to check out with everything and leave everything you have behind. And I do mean everything. For somebody else to fight over. Because that is how it is. But that denial and that anger was something that was just so real. So then I went through what they call the bargaining stage. Okay. And I still do that now. Wishing that things would just turn out completely different than the way it did. But I know I have no control over it. I had to get to a point of attempting to accept the things that I can't change. Because you can't. But when they say give people their flowers when they're alive, I think that's why my main reason for making this video. When I work over here, and when I decided to cut that job loose, I really, really, really decided to cut it loose after this happened. Because let me tell you something. It's amazing how things happen in your life, and then it makes you do things that you normally wouldn't do. Things that you know you wouldn't have done. Okay? Because I'm talking about myself, because this was me. So I'm talking about myself. There are different times that my mom would want me or say, when you coming up here? sung by Atlanta. When you coming up here? And you know, when things are not happening in your life and things are not going south for you, and you're not having bad news and nothing is happening, and you just living your life to the fullest, you know, you don't think about things occurring. And most people in my life, in my family, I shall say, they live extremely long lives. So I never once even thought that it would happen. Ain't that something? Like I'm God. Like I'm calling the shots. Man, I tell you, us as humans, we can really do a number on ourselves, okay? But I most definitely was looking at it as though I had time. I wasn't even thinking about it, that I had time. I was just, she's there. When I get there, I get there. You know, I'm not gonna put myself in debt. Right now, my money's tight. Right now, I bought new furniture. Right now, I got a new car. Right now, I did this. Right now, I did that. So I gotta wait, and I can't, not spend too much money and do this and do that. And if I come, then it's gonna take me forever to pay back on these tickets. I have no travel miles. Frequent flyer miles is gone and out the window, and all of these excuses. Because that's what they were. They were excuses, because I'm going to tell you why I say they were excuses. I thought at the moment when it was happening that they were legitimate reasons for not going at that time when she would ask me to. I thought it was legitimate reason to not go. Until she passed. And once she passed, I had no choice but to go. So I charged cards, rentals, rooms. I did all of the above. Isn't it something? How we do it when it's too late. That may be the message that I'm here to tell you guys today. Please, please, if you have family that lives somewhere else and you love them and you miss them, please don't wait. I mean, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't live in the same town with my dad. My dad still lives in Mississippi, and I don't live in the same town with him. And after this has happened with my mom, you guys, I've made trips, and I know I was thinking to myself, Deitra, y'all always hear me talk about self in the third person, so y'all know that's what I do. So I'm like, Deitra, these trips you done made down here, getting these hotel rooms, and y'all back and forth, and because you got to. You could have went on ahead and did it when you didn't have to, but just because you wanted to, because she was alive and she asked you to. Man. And you know what they say about us? We always wait till something happens before we all come together. That's true. But hey, life throws us all types of things, and there are things we have to do, and we're doing what we're doing every day we're living, and we're not thinking about anything happening until it does. So then I went through all of the depressions, and I go through all of those, and it comes through waves, and I've never had to take any type of day off and all that old stuff. But I told you guys I had quit my job, and I ended up having to go back. So when I went back, then I had to take a bereavement. I've never had to take a bereavement, but I couldn't breathe, let alone work. Like, I couldn't breathe. I was up in here. I mean, it was so bad. One day, I had to open my door so that my neighbors could see me in case I passed out, because I know my oxygen level had went out of here. I was in a fix for a second. Okay? So, if you have family, friends that you love, and you want to spend time with them, do that. If you can find a way to release yourself from spending all your days and nights, on a job, and start putting in front what matters most, which is family, whether it's kids, whether it's spouses, whether it's moms, dads, do what you guys need to do to share as much time with your family as you can. You know, be there for each other. You know, brush stuff that don't matter up under the, all that where I never forgive them for. Yes, do it. Forgive them for whatever it was. Okay, and not for them, but for you. Forgive them for you. Okay, I know I let this go on and I just been rambling, but I did want to take time out to just share with you guys what was happening and how it came to be, and my faith and how I'm able to. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking, well, how do you keep your faith so strong when your mom is gone? And that's because I know, once again, that at the end of the day, none of us are gonna make it out of here alive. And I plan to see God. And I firmly believe that one day I'll see her and distance won't be a problem anymore. Something that I wanted to get off my chest and share with you guys and let you guys know exactly what I went through and the things that I as a person and what my beliefs are and who I am, so that at the end of the day, y'all already know. It don't change the fact that I'm not human now. Don't go there, okay? And God knows I have a personality. He knows I can be stubborn. He knows I have to work on my patience. And he knows sometimes that anger can hit. Okay? That's where the grace comes in. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for watching.